This is a story of a young man that you do not know. His name is Brian. And he was born about 25 or 26 years ago. But he had a very difficult time because when his mother was pregnant with him, in the 7th month, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck in utero, and it was wrapped around 3 times. And the doctors said that Brian's numbers just wouldn't come right, and they thought that he would probably die in utero before being born. There was no way they could reverse what had happened to him. And so his mother and dad contacted me and a whole bunch of other people to begin praying for Brian. And after a number of days, the doctors did another test and found that all of Brian's numbers were completely normal, and the umbilical cord, for some unknown reason, was no longer wrapped around his neck. Everything was fine. And now Brian is 25, 26 years old. I can't remember exactly his age. He is a college graduate and doing very, very well in his chosen profession. And so I tell that story, why? Because I'm a witness of the power of prayer. I'm a witness of the power of God working in people's lives. Brian is actually my cousin, and so it really is something that hits close to home for me in a miraculous way. The doctors can't explain how or why that happened to him, but everything worked out all right. And so I am a witness of God's power working in Brian's life and indeed working in all of our lives. Witnessing is an important thing. So Jesus, at the end of today's gospel, says, "You are witnesses of all of these things." What are they witnesses of? They are witnesses, first of all, that Jesus truly rose from the dead. He appears to Mary Magdalene. He appears to the 2 disciples who are walking away from Jerusalem toward Emmaus. And he appears to many, many other people after his death, after his resurrection. Also, they are witnesses that Jesus' body is real. He eats a bit of fish in front of them, and there are marks in his side, in his hands and feet. And so his body, he's not just a ghost, but he's really a resurrected body, but in a completely different way than his body was here on earth, because remember, he is not recognized by a number of people. And then, even more importantly, they are witnesses that Jesus and God himself do not lie to their people, that he will always be true to his promises to his people. Remember, in today's gospel it says, he opened their minds to the scriptures, and so they were able to see that Jesus is the fulfillment of all of the scriptures that foretold of a Messiah who would come to save his people. And so they cannot keep that message to themselves. It's not something where they say, "Wow, it's really nice, Jesus, that you rose from the dead. Wow, that's really, really great. Good for you," and then they go home. No, it doesn't happen that way. They have to share that message with other people. And Jesus even says it, "Begin at Jerusalem and preach his name to all nations. You are witnesses of these things." And these things, basically, that Jesus is referring to, the grace, the love, the devotion that the Father has to all of us as his people. And Jesus is the true expression of that love and devotion. Well, we might say, that's okay for the disciples 2,000 years ago. They actually saw the event. They saw Jesus crucified. They saw him pass away on the cross. They saw him put into the tomb, and then the stone is rolled across, and then they saw that stone rolled to the side. And then they saw Jesus bodily. Well, we're 2,000 years removed from that. What do? Well, we are witnesses in our own time and place. We're called to be witnesses to the glory of God each and every day of our lives. That's the most important part of what we do as disciples of the Lord. First of all, by our example. We are called to be authentic, trustworthy people. And so we ask ourselves very seriously and very honestly, do the lives that we lead really reflect the presence of the Lord in our lives? We are called to witness by our lives, and maybe if there's a part of our life that is not quite in sync with the gospel, we then are called to change that and to be better people than we were the day before. You may remember the song from the 1970s, "They'll know we are Christians by our love." And that's really kind of the basis of what we are as Christian people. They will know us by the example that we set, by the love that we show. But that's not enough. There's a lot of really good Buddhist and Muslim and Protestant folks who do that very same thing. They lead good lives. They reach out to people. They are loving and caring people. But it's even more important for us to talk to others about the blessings that we have received in our lives as Christian people. Peter, James, John, we read about in the Acts of the Apostles, they are always talking to people about Jesus' work in their lives. They go to the synagogue each and every day. They go to the Temple of Jerusalem to share with the people the fact that Jesus, this carpenter you crucified, is actually the Messiah. And he comes to give his grace, his love, his care to his people. Even though he was crucified by us, still he has a spirit of forgiveness, a spirit of reconciliation for us all. Excuse me. And so we always have to be people who tell others about the glory of God working in our own lives. St. Paul says, "Never fail to give people a reason for your hope." And so we are called to reach out to others and tell that story. Tell it over and over and over again until the world is filled with those who believe in the promises and who believe in the joy, the hope, the blessings that Jesus has for us all. Witnesses. If I were to say the word witnesses to you in a religious context, who would you think of today? The Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Yeah, you're laughing. I know what you mean, because the thing is, these annoying people who ring your doorbell, do we really want to become them? I have a great deal of respect for them, actually. To go to door after door and sometimes just have a door slammed in your face, it's got to be very, very difficult. But still, they are doing really good work. They're witnessing to their faith, ringing doorbells. I think I told this story before, but forgive me, I don't want to tell it too many times, but actually it's kind of funny. I was studying Spanish many years ago, living with a family at 22nd and Sawyer in the south side of Chicago. So one day, 2 Jehovah's Witnesses come to the front door. Ring the doorbell, I open up the door. And they say to me in Spanish, "Ha aceptado Jesús como su Salvador." Have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? So, "I'm really sorry, I don't speak any Spanish. I really don't understand. I'm sorry." Okay. And they leave. 2 days later, 2 more Jehovah's Witnesses come to the front door, ring the doorbell, I answer the door, and they say to me in English, "Have you accepted the Lord Jesus as your Lord and Savior?" And I tell, "Discúlpame, yo no hablo inglés." That is a true story, right? So I do respect I do mess with them, but I do respect the Jehovah's Witnesses. In the Acts of the Apostles, they witnessed to the world about Jesus' salvation. They witnessed to the world about Jesus' resurrection. And we need to tell that story to a new generation. I know one thing that concerns me, and I know concerns a lot of parents and grandparents, is that the next generations of people are becoming less and less religious. The fastest growing category of religion in surveys is none. And I don't mean N-U-N. I'm talking about N-O-N-E, that they have no religion at all. And it's getting pretty scary. So you younger people who are here, your parents and your grandparents are worried about you. They really want you to embrace the faith. And so parents and godparents, tell that story again to your child. And tell it one more time. And then tell it one more time after that. Because it is so important for us to witness to our faith. We always have to tell that great story of redemption, of hope, of joy. And that really is the essence of what we are as witnesses. We share our faith, we share Easter joy with everyone